If the better-for-you bar you reach for after dinner could also be the one adding lead or cadmium to your daily diet, would you still eat it? Dark chocolate has a clean, sophisticated image, antioxidants, simple ingredients, even heart health claims. But not all bars are created equal. Sourcing, soil, and processing can introduce heavy metals into cocoa. Marketing can blur lines on origin and quality. And some confections ride on nostalgia while leaning hard on sugar, oils, and additives. In this report, I'll count down 10 chocolate brands you may want to avoid based on reported contamination concerns, ingredient trade-offs, and past allegations around marketing or sourcing. Stay to the end for 5 brands many nutrition-minded shoppers and ethical buyers consider safer bets. As always, use this as a starting point, read labels, and talk with your clinician if you're managing pregnancy, kidney function, or other conditions where exposure matters. 10. Russell Stover. The heart-shaped boxes and holiday assortments feel timeless, but the price point often hints at the recipe inside. Lots of sugar up front, then inexpensive fats and flavors with comparatively modest cocoa content. Independent testing cited in news coverage has at times flagged elevated heavy metals in assorted mass-market chocolates, and Russell Stover products have been mentioned in that broader conversation. The company's public statements typically emphasize compliance with applicable standards, but batch-level data are not easy for shoppers to find on a box in the aisle. If you are buying chocolate for a loved one who eats it daily, especially children or seniors, consider options with clearer cocoa percentages, simpler ingredient decks, and transparent third-party testing. The nostalgic box is charming. The formulation can feel more candy than cocoa. 9. Trader Joe's Dark Chocolate. Organic logos and short ingredient lists are appealing, but organic does not control for naturally occurring heavy metals in soil. Media summaries of Consumer Reports 2022 testing highlighted certain Trader Joe's dark bars among products that exceeded California's Prop 65 reference levels for lead and/or cadmium on a serving basis. Prop 65 is not a federal safety limit. It is a stringent California risk benchmarking law, but the headline risk is enough that many shoppers prefer to moderate intake or shift to bars with published lot testing. Trader Joe's has said it tests and meets legal requirements. Still, if you are pregnant or buying for kids, consider rotating to brands with published heavy metal data by lot, or choose lower cocoa options less associated with cadmium uptake. 8. Godiva. Belgium 1926 looks luxurious, and some Godiva lines are indeed produced in Europe. However, U.S.-sold products are often made in the United States or Turkey, and Godiva resolved a labeling lawsuit years ago related to how that Belgian heritage was presented without admitting wrongdoing. Separate from branding, some independent tests over the years have reported detectable heavy metals in certain premium dark chocolates across the category, Godiva included, though not always at the highest levels. If you are paying a luxury price, you should expect luxury transparency, clear origin, cocoa percentage, fair trade or equivalent sourcing credentials, and access to recent contaminant testing. If a product leans more on ribbon and box than on sourcing specifics, consider a bar that publishes more. 7. Cadbury, U.S. versions. Cadbury's British originals inspire fierce loyalty, but U.S. licensed formulations can taste very different. More sugar, different fats, and processing choices can produce a waxier or milder cocoa profile. That is a style choice. But for viewers seeking darker, less sweet bars for potential health benefits, U.S. Cadbury offerings may not align with those goals. Add the general backdrop that some dark chocolates have tested with heavy metals above certain benchmarks, and it becomes even more important to match the bar to your intent. If you want a classic treat, enjoy it occasionally. If you want a daily polyphenol source, consider higher cocoa bars with published testing and minimal additives. 6. Nestlé Toll House Chocolate Chips. Toll House is a baking icon, but the ingredient list prioritizes sugar, then oils and emulsifiers, with cocoa solids trailing. Separately, Global Chocolate has faced repeated allegations and investigations about child labor risks in West African cocoa supply chains. Nestlé has been named in litigation over the years and has described initiatives to improve tracing and conditions. A 2021 Supreme Court ruling dismissed a case on jurisdictional grounds rather than on factual determinations. For home bakers who want peace of mind, Look for chips with certified supply chains and published audits, plus straightforward formulations, emphasizing cocoa mass and cocoa butter over cheaper fats. 5. Mars Dove and sister brands. Dove's smooth texture and individually wrapped pieces deliver a polished experience, but like many mainstream confections, the formula often favors sugar and added fats over cocoa density. Mars has also been referenced alongside peers in long-running reporting and lawsuits about cocoa sector labor concerns. The company points to sustainability programs and certifications. Advocates argue progress has been too slow. If your goal is an occasional treat, portion control goes a long way. If you want a routine dark chocolate habit for antioxidants, transition toward bars with higher cocoa percentages, simpler labels, and robust third-party verification. 4. Lindt Excellence 70% to 90%. Lindt is a go-to for many seeking serious dark chocolate. Yet summaries of the 2022 Consumer Report study listed certain Lindt bars among products exceeding Prop 65 lead or cadmium reference amounts on a serving basis, and multiple follow-on lawsuits were filed alleging consumers were misled by premium positioning while metals were present at levels plaintiffs considered concerning. Takeaway for viewers is moderation and data. Results, and consider alternating dark varieties with cocoa powder used in smoothies where serving sizes are smaller. Switch from milk chocolate. Consumer Reports 2022 table, however, listed Hershey's Special Dark among the products with lead above Prop 65's extremely conservative daily benchmark. Hershey has stated its products are safe and compliant under federal standards. If you reach for Special Dark because you want a daily antioxidant source, it may make sense to rotate toward a bar with published metals testing and keep mainstream dark chocolate as a once-in-a-while dessert rather than a daily supplement. 2. Great value chocolate, Walmart. Extreme affordability often comes with trade-offs. Lower cocoa percentages, more sugar and vegetable oils, chocolatey coatings that lean on palm or other fats instead of cocoa butter, and less transparency on origin. Even if heavy metals were not a concern, you would still be getting a confection that behaves more like candy than high cocoa chocolate. If budget is key, you can still improve the profile by choosing baking cocoa and sweetening a little at home, or by buying a store-brand bar that lists cocoa mass and cocoa butter ahead of sugar and uses minimal emulsifiers. 1. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. America's favorite combo is engineered to be irresistible. As an occasional treat, it is exactly that. As a routine habit, it is a lot of sugar per serving, oils and stabilizers in the filling, and a chocolate coating that emphasizes sweetness and mouthfeel rather than cocoa density. For parents building weekly snack routines, swap in a square of higher cocoa chocolate and a spoon of natural peanut butter. You keep the flavor logic while reducing the added sugar load and additives. For holidays, moderation and portioning are your best tools. If your question is, so what can I buy with more confidence? Here are 5 brands many careful shoppers reach for, with clear sourcing and stronger transparency around testing. Always verify current labels and, when possible, read the latest batch certificates. 5 Endangered Species Chocolate, known for donating a portion of profits to conservation and for publishing detailed sourcing information. Ingredient lists stay short, many bars are fair trade or equivalent, and the company has discussed metals, testing, and supplier controls in public materials. If you want mainstream availability plus a value story, this is a high-signal starting point. 4. Equal Exchange. Worker-oriented cooperative model with long-standing fair trade commitments and origin transparency. Bars highlight cocoa percentage and origin, and the organization regularly publishes impact reports. If you care about farmer terms and traceability along with taste, this checks many boxes. 3. Taza Chocolate. Stone-ground discs and bars preserve a rustic texture and bold flavor. Taza's direct trade standard includes annual third-party audits, and the company posts transparent reports. The ingredient decks are minimal, and serving sizes are easier to control because the discs are segmented. If you like intense cocoa and visible sourcing detail, Taza is a strong pick. 2. Alter Eco. Regenerative agriculture, carbon accounting, and streamlined formulas are front and center. The brand has discussed metals testing and lot traceability and keeps ingredients simple: cocoa mass, cocoa butter, and sweetener, often organic. If environmental metrics and clear labels matter to you, Alter Eco balances both. 1. Who Kitchen, Who Chocolate. No dairy, no soy, no emulsifiers, and coconut sugar in place of refined cane sugar, which some viewers prefer for taste and glycemic reasons. Ingredient lists are extremely short, and the company communicates about sourcing and testing. If you want a clean label dark chocolate for a daily square, Who is an easy recommendation. Practical shopping checklist you can apply in any aisle, anywhere. First, look for cocoa mass and cocoa butter near the top of the ingredient list, and keep emulsifiers and flavors to a minimum. Second, match cocoa percentage to your use. Higher cocoa can bring more polyphenols, but also concentrates cadmium from soil in some regions, so daily eaters may favor 60 to 75% bars from brands that publish metals data. Third, scan for certifications and published reports, fair trade or equivalent, organic if you want it, and ideally a link or QR code to current lot testing. Fourth, mind portions. The difference between a daily square and a full bar adds up fast. Fifth, rotate sources. Vary brands and origins over time to diversify exposure. Remember, Prop 65 numbers often used in headlines are conservative benchmarks designed to flag incremental lifetime risk, not emergency hazard thresholds. That does not mean you should ignore them. It means a common sense approach works best. Choose bars with better transparency, moderate serving sizes, and be especially mindful during pregnancy and for kids. If this helped you sort the signal from the noise in the chocolate aisle, tap like and subscribe so you don't miss the next breakdown. Next up, we are looking at breakfast items that seem healthy but may not be, and the brands that actually meet the mark.